Well, we've grown our weep nitty bum. We're back with a brand new video, and this weird looking dude here is the subject of today's video. So it's bad enough that under Adam Silver's watch, viewership, interest, level of play in the NBA has all decreased, particularly over the past decade, which has been reported that the viewership is nearly decreased by half. You know, he has turned he's gimmicked the playoffs with this ridiculous play-in deal. He's gimmicked the regular season with this stupid play-in tournament that no one cares about. Now he's gimmicked the All-Star game with I don't even know, dividing teams or whatever he's done. I have to be honest. I'll say that in the 30 years or so that I've been watching basketball, I have NBA basketball. I have as little interest in the regular season, the All-Star game, and the league as a whole as I have ever had. My interest has never been lower. Thank you, Adam Silver. So his latest uh, moment of ivory tower dumbassery comes in this conversation with Lee Jenkins of Sports Illustrated. This comes in part from CBS Sports. It says Adam Silver says he is a fan of shortening NBA quarters to 10 minutes. Also floats idea of free throw change, and this was written by James Herbert. Um, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has always maintained he's open to discussing potential changes, even radical ones. Silver cares about tradition. There's a contradiction right there, not only in this article, but in Commissioner Silver's actions. Because if he cared about tradition, he would not have done or allowed the game to become so radically unrecognizable to even just a decade ago. And it's a completely different game to the golden age of the sport that drew so many people to where the interest was at an all-time high. So that's a bunch of garbage right there. He hasn't spent the last 10 plus years implementing weird gimmicks. Are you serious? But dating back to his first Board of Governors meeting on the job, he wanted the league to be able to adapt when necessary. So, this is on the Dan Patrick Show. The article continues. And Dan Patrick asked him to consider or share the wildest idea the NBA has considered. So, here's what he said. One that was discussed, one that's only been discussed a little, I wouldn't put it necessarily in the category of being so wild, is potentially I can't talk, two free throws for a foul on a three-point shot, Silver said. I don't necessarily think I would do it in the last 2 minutes of a game, but I think that's something that's interesting. Okay, I'm just going to say how stupid that idea is, because it's already bad enough that players are so stupid that they continuously foul shooters on three-pointers. It would be a parade of people to the three-point line, because if you got a team that's hot and they're killing, I'm going to just whack you, and you just go to the line and knock down two. Oh, Lord, who's in the room? Jesus Christ. Blah, 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 blah. The article goes on. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. A second wild idea, Silver told Patrick, is changing the length of a quarter from 12 minutes to 10 minutes. Silver described himself as a fan of this, but said that he was probably in minority. As we get more involved in global basketball, the NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes, he said. And I'm a fan of 10-minute quarters. I'm not sure that many others are. I mean, putting aside what that means for records and things like that, I think a 2-hour format is more consistent with modern television habits. Silver clarified that people in the arena aren't asking us to shorten the game, but the change would likely be welcomed by at-home viewers. He referenced that Olympic basketball games are generally about 2 hours long. The same is true of WNBA games. Overtime, he said. Overtime, not overtime. Overtime, he said. He would like to create a more consistent set of rules globally around the game. In theory, the NBA moving to a 40-minute league could be a part of that. It goes on to talk about it. I don't want to read the whole article. If you want to go and check it out, I'll have the link in the article. But this is what I'm talking about with this dude, man. And this is why I said he is the worst thing to happen to the NBA. You know, when I watched sports years ago, they always used to talk about, and for those of you who are hockey fans, this name will ring familiar, Gary Bettman, commissioner of the NBA. And they talk about how he was the worst commissioner, blah, blah, blah. He was so bad. He's an idiot. He's ruining the game, so on and so forth. Gary Bettman is light years better than this dude. I mean, here's the thing, and I'm just going to... If your game is doing so well, you wouldn't have to come up with all these gimmicks in order to continuously entice people to A, watch the game, or B, start to watch the game. Because in generations past, you didn't have to do that. The game, in and of itself, was the draw. You didn't have to have all these cheap tricks, in order to do things. It's almost like in wrestling, when you're trying to bring the houses back up and you start hotshot booking in order to try to get people back. You start going with all these gimmick matches just to try to get interest. And while that can work in the short term, eventually you can blow out your business because they've seen everything. And so with all of this mess that he's trying to do, the thing that's being totally overlooked is the level of play and the quality of the game in and of itself. And there is nobody with more than 7 brain cells that's going to sit here and really try to articulate to us, especially those of us that have been watching basketball for any significant period of time, that what we are seeing on NBA courts right now is better than what we have seen in years past. You're not going to make that argument. It's just not accurate, full stop. And so you've got to do all of these things, and it's not working. Like, even, I give a little bit of personal insight. My young son last year was so looking forward to watching the All-Star game. We sat down. He watched about 3 minutes of them half-assing it, and he was like, dude, I'm leaving. I'm going upstairs to play PlayStation. And he left. And if somebody at the age of 9 can see that in that short of a sample size of watching the All-Star game, which the decline in that's another video for another day, but it still holds my point that the level of play, the level of interest is continuously declining. And he is so dead set. He's dead set on turning the NBA into a international league. And one of the things that we've always liked is the NBA set itself apart from other leagues because they don't do things the way that the other game does. But you can tell by certain moves that they have made that they're prioritizing the international audience and the international player in some ways to the detriment of the overall league. And this is just another instance of that. And now you're telling the people who actually go to the games that you're in essence taking 8 minutes away from me. You're shortening the game, but I bet you at no point are you going to lighten up on the ticket prices. There's not going to be a cost relief on that. Nobody else, be it vendors or whatever, is going to lighten up because I'm paying the same, if not more, and I'm getting less for my money. And that's the thing that this moron didn't even talk about in his conversation there. And I'm just going to say this, and then I want to try to wrap up. This dude, okay, let me. Granted, I had issues with David Stern. I did not agree with everything that he said, but or did, or how he handled things. But one thing that cannot be argued against is demonstrably true is that the league prospered under his watch, and which I talked about earlier is not the same with Adam Silver. He's like the substitute teacher that the kids don't have respect for. And one of the reasons I say that is because when you look, be it old school players of the golden era, that were in the league when he was commissioner, when they talk about David Stern, it's always Commissioner Stern, David Stern, Mr. Stern, all these types of things, which shows you there's a level of respect there. There's a hierarchy. With these cats now, you can tell because they feel comfortable enough. Adam. Oh, well, we go to talk to Adam. Adam this. It's never Commissioner Silver, Mr. Silver. It's always Adam. Adam, which shows you there's a level of, you're comfortable because at a certain level you don't respect him as the man, as the person where the buck stops in the NBA. And you can tell by his own actions, because it looks like he's a guy, he wants to be cool with the class, so to speak. He wants to be liked rather than respected, and because of that, the way he's running things had a deleterious effect on the league, and I'll just say that. But unfortunately, he just signed an extension, 8 years? So we've got to deal with this from a longer time span. And let me come back before I forget, because in the article, really quick, he talked about more or less the TV audience, which is by the way shrinking with each passing day. And you think that cutting 8 minutes out of the game will keep people watching? And see, this is why the dude doesn't get it. For one, you're screwing over your in-person for your television audience, which is shrinking, which tells me you're thinking about trying to squeeze more money out of whenever the next CBA or the television deal comes up. But you don't care about that, and you're so focused on people, like the time frame of the game and matching up. You're missing the elephant of the room, which is the reason why people are turning away. The reason why you have to talk about this is because the quality of play, the thing that makes any of this go. Because if your play sucks, it doesn't matter if you're playing 12-minute quarters or 2-minute quarters and nobody's watching. It doesn't matter if your games are 2 hours long or 12 hours long. If the play sucks, people aren't going to watch. And this is what people have been saying over and over again, and you refuse to acknowledge or what people are saying, or at least your avenue of trying to go about is falling woefully short of making any appreciable change that would bring a level of play back to the league that would draw the people that have left, and that people will want to see. And it just shows how out of touch this dude is. And I don't know. What will the NBA look like in 8 to 10 years? I don't know. I really don't know. I think the league is in more trouble than we've ever seen. Maybe even since the days of tape delay NBA Finals game. They're on that path, I think. And I said on a show I was on a year and a half ago, I said the NBA is in trouble. And they tried to argue me down talking about viewership. I said, no. When you watch, there's certain signs this league is heading the wrong direction. And it looks like I and others were proven right. But with that being said, I have rambled on enough. I didn't mean for it to go this long, but I really like basketball. I don't like what the NBA is right now. But it is something I can talk about with a level of knowledge and a level of passion, and hopefully that shines through on the video. But with that being said, thank you for spending a few moments with me. I'll be back with more videos very, very soon. And as always, please make sure you tell the ones that you love them. you know, check on your people in North Carolina, California. Make sure they're all good. And once again, thank you. Checking out the video. Peace.